One of the most commonly asked questions in the fitness space is how to lose fat. The common answer to that question is a calorie deficit. But what if I told you that there's a better way? One that's far more effective and doesn't require the chore of calorie counting. That's exactly what I'm going to do in this video. The easiest way to lose fat is actually just to lower your carbohydrate intake. The reason that lowering your carbohydrate intake will help you lose fat easily is simply because carbs are fattening. The first reason that carbs are fattening is because of something called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a sort of condition that comes as a byproduct of eating too many carbs. To try and explain it as simply as possible, when you eat carbs, your body, the pancreas in particular, has to release a hormone called insulin. The more and more carbohydrates you eat, the more and more insulin that your body and the pancreas needs to release in order to basically do away with those carbs in your bloodstream. That's where the sort of resistance comes from. The more and more carbs you eat, the more and more the amount of insulin your body needs to release. The reason that this is fattening is because insulin is a pretty sensitive hormone and it likes to stay at a pretty balanced level. But when you're eating carbs again and again, meal after meal, a high carb diet, eventually, because your body needs to keep producing more and more insulin, what an excess level of insulin does in your body is it promotes fat storage. So being insulin resistant and having excess insulin levels directly leads to fat gain. Another reason that carbohydrates are fattening is something to do with the interaction of glucose in the body after you eat carbs. So when you eat carbs in your body, they are broken down into something called glucose, and that glucose enters your blood. Now, the body tries to do basically everything it can to send to take that glucose basically out of the blood. It doesn't want that glucose to be in the blood at all. The first place it sends it is the liver. The liver can't hold that much. It can hold a bit, but again, not too much. So the next place the body tries to send this insulin, is into your muscles. The muscles also can only hold so much. Again and again, it's not a lot. So what the body is forced to do with any excess glucose that wasn't able to fit in the liver or the muscles, basically overflowing from the liver and the muscles, is that it has to add them to your fat stores. So that's another reason why eating carbs fattens you. It's because that glucose, a significant amount of that glucose that you're consuming through the carbs are gonna end up in your fat stores. The last reason lies in the interaction of the fat already on your body when you're eating carbs. So when you're eating carbs, and again, back to the first point, you get insulin resistant. Another thing that happens is your body is not only disproportionately storing more fat from the food you're eating, but your body also isn't able to tap into its already existing fat stores for energy. So this is a kind of double whammy effect where not only are you basically putting on fat, again, disproportionately, you're also just not able to even subtract fat off your body. You're not able to use that for energy. So really, it's just through eating carbs, weight loss is oftentimes really just a lose-lose situation. So these three reasons showed you why carbs are making you fat and keeping you fat. So it kind of goes without saying then that eliminating carbs would help you lose fat a lot more easily. No longer will you have the disproportionate fat gain due to insulin resistance and glucose metabolism, and your body will also be able to tap into its pre-existing fat stores, which it cannot normally do when you're eating carbs. So all of this might sound good to you, but you might be a little bit concerned. Is this safe? Is it safe to not eat carbohydrates? Well, the answer, as it comes from me and from science, really is that yes, it is perfectly safe. So to begin, on the safety side of things, carbs are not an essential nutrient. There's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. Essential in the medical or biological sort of definition means something that your body needs to survive but cannot produce itself. So it needs to get it from some other kind of source. There are essential fats, there are essential proteins, but again, there's no such thing as an essential carb. So you will be perfectly fine not eating carbs because again, they're not essential. And what about the energy side of things? You might have heard oftentimes fitness influencers and people in mainstream media and whatever saying that carbs provide a readily available fast digesting source of energy. And yes, that is somewhat true. Carbs are a source of energy, but they are not the only source of energy, and in fact, they are not even the most efficient source of energy for the body. Once you stop eating carbs, your body will start fueling itself off dietary fats and the fat on your body, which alludes to some of the points I made earlier in this video as well. That happens when you stop eating carbs and your body gets what's called fat adapted. Fat is a much better source of energy for the body because it is stable. Something that I don't want to get into too much in this video, but pertains to carbs is the energy you get from carbs are very, I guess you could say like yo-yo-y, if that sort of makes sense to you. They spike up really fast when you eat, but then they crash really fast as well. Fat doesn't do that. When you're fueling your body off of fat, when you're fat adapted, your energy levels are stable and you'll feel much better throughout, and you won't get the killer hunger you're probably used to getting when you eat your standard diet, which probably has a lot of carbs in it. And an added benefit, if you're still not sold, is that trying to lose fat this way is incredibly muscle sparing. You see, when people are able to lose fat while still eating a high carb diet, the thing is that while they do often lose a little bit of fat, they usually lose a significant amount of muscle alongside it. It is basically a given in the fitness space that if you're going to be on a calorie deficit trying to lose fat, that you will lose muscle alongside it. Like at best, the best you could hope for is just maintaining your muscle mass while losing fat. This muscle is lost because on the traditional calorie deficit way of trying to lose fat, you're basically starving yourself, and in doing so, your body and your muscles in particular don't get the required nutrients they need to sustain the amount of muscle mass you want to keep. But on a low carb diet, this paradigm shifts completely, and it's simply because you're no longer eating something that's making you fat and keeping you fat. But you're not having to starve yourself. When you're eating a low carb diet, you'll probably actually increase your intake of protein and fat, both of which are essential building blocks really for building muscle. So as I said, a low carb diet has a very muscle sparing effect when you're trying to lose fat. You'll lose fat because you're not eating the carbs, but you'll be able to keep muscle. And honestly, from my experience eating this kind of way, you'll actually be able to build muscle while losing fat, because again, it all just has to do with what are the building blocks for building muscle and what are sort of, I guess, the debuilding blocks or whatever for losing fat. The building blocks for muscle are protein and fat, and what makes you fat is carbohydrates. So when you're not eating carbohydrates, but you're eating a lot of protein and fat, it is just logical to think that, yeah, you're gonna build a lot of muscle while you're losing fat, because you're just eating the right kinds of foods. And yeah, really, that's it. In this video, I've explained why lowering your carbohydrate intake is the easiest and most effective, and honestly just the best way to try and lose fat. Don't do the old way of losing fat, which is the stupid calorie deficit. Yeah, it can work because you're starving yourself, but it is nowhere near the best way to lose fat. And in trying to lose fat that way, you're gonna hurt your physique goals through the muscle you lose, and also just your health, because eating carbs it's just not good for your health. And I firmly believe that this is the way for the future as well. A lot of people in the comments, probably this video and some of my past videos as well, you know, they say a lot that, oh, like whatever I'm saying, all this stuff about carbs and whatever, it's BS. But I firmly believe that in the future, this kind of advice that I'm giving today will be like common knowledge, and hopefully will be like the mainstream advice. And people then will think, oh man, people like 50 years ago or whatever used to be so stupid, thinking that they could eat a bunch of carbs and have it be healthy and whatever. I think the paradigm will shift, because at the end of the day, people will just see people like me on the internet and whatever getting results. And also all of this is scientifically, actually scientifically backed, and you can research all of this for yourself. And if you want to do more research about this topic and other similar topics, I would suggest visiting the link in my description and considering my ebook. It's a 65,000 word guide to not only help you build your dream physique, but also do it in a healthy way. I've spent years researching and experimenting on things pertaining to training, diet, and recovery, and all of that knowledge I've put in that book. So I know that the value in there is immense. There is a coupon code I'll have up on screen somewhere here, first 5. If you input that at checkout, you can get the book for just $5, but it's first 5 because it's for the first person who purchases the book. So you might have to act a little bit fast. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.